Matilda says God bless you. Player says may I ask you some questions? Matilda says you know Mother Cecilia doesn't like us talking to men unless it's truly necessary. Player says ah. Matilda says thank you, Master Mailer. Matilda. Sophie. Marguerite, Upper Abbey. Lisbeth. Gertrude. Lisbeth says God bless you, Master Mailer. Gertrude. Gertrude says God bless you, Master Mailer. Lisbeth. Upper Abbey. Shrine. Convent Garden. Upper Abbey. Convent Aquarium. Het Mossvanger. Player says Sister Gertrude dries and stores all of her herbs here. Sister Gertrude dries and stores all of her herbs here. Het Mossvanger. The sisters certainly keep their garden well tended. Het Mossvanger. The sisters certainly keep their garden well tended. Het Mossvanger. Het Mossvanger. Convent Upper Abbey. Prior's house. This door must lead into the rest of the convent. Not for me. Upper Abbey. Convent Aquarium. Upper Abbey. Prior's house. This door must lead into the rest of the convent. Prior's house. Convent Garden. Cecilia. Convent Garden. Convent Garden. Cecilia. Cecilia says God bless you, Andreas. Player says God bless you, Mother Cecilia. Cecilia says is there something I can help you with? Option 1 of 2 I noticed that you took the sisters inside when I walked up with the Baron. Option 2 of 2 no. My apologies. Until option 1 of 2 I noticed that you. Cecilia says what concern of it is yours? Option 1 of 3 given that the Baron was just murdered, it seems worth inquiring about the cause. Option 2 of 3 you said much in saying nothing. Option 3 of 3 it just seemed unusual. Option 1 of Cecilia says what? Do you not trust in the abbot's judgment? Option 1 of 3 it's not that. I just want to understand what's happened. Option 2 of 3 no, of course I don't. Brother Piero? He wouldn't hurt a mouse. Option 3 of 3 do you? Option 1 of 3 Cecilia says as do I. I share concerns over the abbot's assumptions about Brother Piero's guilt, but you must be careful about how you proceed. The abbot does not want anything to interfere with the archdeacon's investigation. That includes you. Option 1 of 2 then help me. Option 2 of 2 how do you feel about interfering with it? Option 1 of 2 then help me. Cecilia says help you what? Blame someone else for the murder? Option 1 of 3 well, yes. Option 2 of 3 you know that Piero didn't murder the Baron. It had to have been someone else. Option 3 of 3 help me find justice. Cecilia says what does justice look like, Andreas? Option 1 of 2 I won't know until I've found out who actually did this. Option 2 of 2 you know that justice does not look like Piero dying for this murder. Option 1 of 2 Cecilia says I am simply a nun. Why do you think I can help you? Option 1 of 2 you know what happens at this abbey better than anyone. Option 2 of 2 I saw how you reacted when the Baron arrived. You must know something about what's going on. Option 1 of 2 you know what happens. Cecilia says better than the abbot. Option 1 of 2 the abbot sees only the brother's side. You need to watch over the sisters and know what's happening with the brothers. Option 2 of 2 well, I can't exactly ask for his help, can I? Option 1 of 2 Cecilia says true. Alright. I did have reason to be concerned about Baron Rothvogel's presence. The Baron caused irreparable harm to one of the sisters on his last visit. The damage was severe enough that she had to leave us for some time. Option 1 of 2 say nothing. Option 2 of 2 what kind of harm? Cecilia says irreparable. That is why I removed the sisters from his presence as soon as I could. Option 1 of 2 which sister? Can I speak with her? Option 2 of 2 are there any who may have wanted revenge? Option 1 of 2 which sister? Cecilia says I know, Andreas. I don't think that would be appropriate. Option 1 of 2 alright. This doesn't help me much if I don't know what happened or to whom. Option 2 of 2 say nothing. Option 1 of 2 alright. Cecilia says I understand this is less information than you likely wanted, but I do not think I can tell you any more in good conscience. Trust me when I say that the victim of this incident could not have killed the Baron. Player says I need more than that. Are there any records on her? On what happened? Cecilia says yes, we keep records on all the sisters in the library. Not that it does you any good. You're not allowed. Option 1 of 2 this again? Option 2 of 2. Could I ask Sister Illuminata to see them? Cecilia says she won't give them to you. Our records aren't available for outsiders to look through. Option 1 of 2 I can sneak in on my own, you know. I found a secret entrance in the crypt. Option 2 of 2 Sister Illuminata told me there's a secret entrance into the library. Cecilia says oh. And do you know where it is? Player says yes. I found it while exploring the crypt. Cecilia says. Don't try it. You'll be caught and you'd be lucky if the abbot only banished you from the abbey until Judgment Day. Option 1 of 2 millimeters. We'll see. Thank you for your help. Option 2 of 2 You're probably right. God bless you, Mother Cecilia. Option 1 of 2 Cecilia says may God bless you, Andreas Mailer. Cecilia. Convent Garden. Convent Garden. Cecilia. Convent Garden. Convent Garden. Prior's House. Upper Abbey. Convent Aquarium. Het Mosvanger. Het Mosvanger. Convent Aquarium. Convent Garden. Player says the doors into the convent are locked to outsiders. Men, at least. Convent Garden. A painting of Hildegard of Bingen, Mother Cecilia's favorite. Convent Garden. Convent Aquarium. Het Mosvanger. Het Mosvanger. Convent Upper Abbey. Prior's House. Prior's House. Upper Abbey. Convent Garden. Shrine. Lower Abbey. Church. Church. Upper Abbey. Monastery Aquarium. Ruger. Cloister. Crypt. Crypt. Church. Library. 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 The sisters may be in the library right now. I need to wait until compline. Library. Abbot Dietrich, from the height of church. Crypt. Cloister, Ruger. Cloister, crypt, tower. Dormitory, old Matthew, sacristy. Matthew says God bless you, Andreas, old dormitory. Church. Old Bailey. Dormitory. Church, scriptorium. Scriptorium. Old Bailey. Got. Old Bailey. Old Bailey. Got. Guy says good day, Andre, good day, Old Bailey. Scriptorium. Prior's House. Old Bailey. Old Bailey. Player says now that I know the connection between the astrological symbols on the cipher and the elemental symbols on the Volvel, Ferenc's note should be easy to decipher. Player says now that I know the connection between the astrological symbols on the cipher and the elemental symbols on the Volvel, Ferenc's note should be easy to decipher. Old Bailey. Prior's House. Scriptorium, Cemetery. Scriptorium, Church, Dormitory. Old Bailey. Church. Church. Dormitory. Tower, Crypt, Cloister, Ruger. Monastery, Upper Abbey. Church. Lower Abbey. Shrine. Convent Garden. Shrine. Upper Abbey, Marguerite. Sophie. Sophie says God bless you, Matilda. Matilda says God bless you, Master Mailer. Player says may I ask you some questions, Sister Matilda? Matilda says you know Mother Cecilia doesn't like us talking to men unless it's truly necessary. Player says forgive me. I'll leave you to your... Matilda says thank you, Master Mailer. Matilda. Sophie. Marguerite, Upper Abbey. Lisbeth. Gertrude. Lisbeth. Upper Abbey. Shrine. Convent Garden. Shrine. Lower Abbey. Upper Abbey. Meadow. Upper Abbey. Guest House. Abbot House. Guest House. Lower Abbey. Het Verstchen. Het Verstchen. Lower Abbey. Lady Salomia. Lady Salomia. Lower Abbey. Het Verstchen. Lower Abbey. Guest House. Lower Abbey. Lady Salomia. Lady Salomia says hello, Master Mailer. Lower Abbey. Het Verstchen. Lower Abbey. Guest House. Abbot House. Guest House. Meadow. Lower Abbey. Forest. Till. Mill. Church and Druggers. Player says Columbine. Looks like it's coming in early. A shrine to St. Moritz. Mill. Snowdrops, one of the only till. Forest. Irises. Beautiful. Lower Abbey. Meadow. Lower Abbey. The figures in the shrine to St. Christopher are quite nice. Forest. Till. Till says hello, Master Mailer. Mill. Player says a shrine to St. Moritz. Mill. Snowdrops, one of the only. Mill. Meadow. Roman Root Lenhart. Hall. Headstog. At Church at Outer Farms. Church at Else. Else says hello, Master Mailer. Church and Druggers. Else. Player says glass windows, probably made in the Low Countries. Headstog. Hall. Hall. Headstog. Hall. This looks like a Dutch windmill. What's it doing at Lenhart? Roman Ruin. Meadow. Roman Ruin. Lenhart. Lenhart says Andreas. Hall. Headstog. At Church at Outer Farms. Church at Else. Headstog. Hall. Lenhart. Roman Ruin. Meadow. Mill. Roman Ruin. Andreas. Roman Ruins. Mill. Player says a child's drawings. I wonder who the artist is. Mill. Collapse. This must have allowed access to the aqueduct. Mill. Mill. Lenhart. Hall. Headstog. At Church at Outer Farms. Mill. Carl. Helena. Helena says Andreas Mailer. What brings you all the way out here? Player says just thought I'd drop by. Helena says well, thank you. Not much happening other than the spring planting. And hopefully a sister for Anton soon. It's hard to not be fearful, given how things went last time. Option 1 of 3 I am sorry. Option 2 of 3 God will protect you and your child. Helena says I hope so. I wish I knew why we didn't deserve his protection last time. Maybe it was something I did. Maybe something I didn't do. Maybe it was Carl. Option 1 of 3 I'll say a prayer for your family, Helena. Option 2 of 3. Well, I'll leave you to your work. Option 3 of 3 say nothing. Option 1 of 3. Helena says God bless you, Andreas. Helena. Carl. Carl says hello, Andreas. Mill. Carl. Helena. Helena. Carl. Mill. Outer Farms, Church and Else, Petstog, Paul. Lenhart, Roman Ruin, Meta. Lenhart, Paul. Petstog. Petstog, Paul. Lenhart, Roman Ruin, Meta. Mill. Till. Forest. Forest. Meta. Smokey's Home, Church and Druckers. Meadow. Forest. Church and Druckers. Smokey's Home. Smokey's Home. Forest. Vaxlop. Vaxlop, Forest, Smokey. Forest. Smokey's player says most of his felling is for the Abbey's renovations and firewood. The town can only gather sticks. Smokey's Home. Smokey's Home. Forest. Smokey. Smokey says, did you need something, Master Mailer? Player says no, but thank you. Smokey. Smokey says, did you need something? Player says no, but thank you. Smokey. Forest. Vaxlop. Vaxlop says, hey, Master Mailer. Vaxlop, Forest, Smokey. Smokey says, did you need something, Master Mailer? Player says no, but thank you. Smokey. Forest. Meadow. Shrine of Waterfall. Shrine of Saint Sasha. Marie says, lay the flowers just like that, Birdie. Shrine of Saint Sasha. Forest. Shrine of Saint Sasha. Waterfall. Shrine of Saint Sasha. Meadow. Smokey's Home, Church and Druckers. Smokey's Home. Meadow. Shrine of Waterfall. Journal. Forest. Shrine of Saint Sasha. Meadow. Meadow. Shrine of Saint Sasha. Forest. Berthold says, did I pick them okay? You think Saint Sasha will like them? Marie says they're perfect. She'll like them very much. Option 1 of 2, hello Marie, Bird. I didn't expect to see you here. Option 2 of 2, that's a beautiful bunch of flowers, Bird. Did you get option 2 of 2, that's a beautiful bunch of flowers, Bird. Did you gather them yourself? Option 1 of 2, hello Marie. Marie says I could say the same for you, Andreas Mailer. Out for an early walk? Option 1 of 2, just trying to clear my head. I have a lot on my mind. Option 2 of 2, I was curious about this tree, actually. It's enormous. Option 2 of 2, I was curious about this tree, actually. It's enormous. Option 1 of Marie says the murder, of course. I'm sorry, I forgot. The Abbey feels very far away, sometimes, up on the hill. Well, I hope this holy place brings some peace to your spirit. It does to mine. Option 1 of 2, I am already feeling renewed. This is a special place, isn't it? Option 2 of 2, I am afraid it will take more than a large tree to soothe me, Marie. Marie says if not a tree, then perhaps the Lord, working through his servant. Do you know the story of Saint Sasha, Andreas? Player says I'm not familiar with her. I take it she's a local saint? Marie says indeed, and very dear to us. As dear as the famed Saint Moritz, though not as widely known. Player says nod thoughtfully. Marie says Passing is blessed to have been founded on a great trade road, on fertile land, close to the Lord here in the Alps. Option 1 of 2, I have been no place like it, that's true. Option 2 of 2, squint skeptically. Option 1 of 2, Marie says this was once a pagan village. Saint Moritz, snowed in during a bad winter, brought the town to the Lord with the aid of Saint Sasha. Sasha was the daughter of the town leader, the first of the pagans moved to convert. She leads Saint Moritz to a spring, and when he baptized her, the earth grew lush, green, rich with fruit. Option 1 of 2, what fruit? Option 2 of 2, let her continue. Marie says Moritz and his starving men were saved by this miracle, and the town was brought to Christ's side. In a way, we were all saved that day. Option 1 of 2, it's a lovely story. Strange that I've never heard it. Option 2 of 2, what happened to Seisha in the end? Marie says she was martyred for her faith. But I feel she is with us still. Don't you, Bert? Berthold says in the tree. Player says the tree. Marie says grown from an acorn fallen off the tree that provided the kindling for Seisha's pyre. Through God's grace, she is always here with us, working her miracles. Player says she seems very important to you. Marie says it's through her work, and the Lord's grace, that I have the life I do now. I owe all the joy in my life to her. Option 1 of 2, how do you mean? Option 2 of 2, I appreciate you sharing that with me, Marie. I'll have much to consider on my walk. Option 1 of 2, how do you, Marie says. When Claus and I first married, we struggled for years to start our family. I was distraught, I wanted a child desperately. I brought an offering to Saint Seisha and prayed to be touched by her miracle of life. And we were blessed with Bert here. Berthold says I came from the tree. Option 1 of 2, that explains your wild disposition. Option 2 of 2, and what a blessing he is. Marie says my little scam. It's been some years since his birth, and we are struggling again. I am hoping that Seisha and the Lord will once again bless us with a child. Perhaps a daughter. Player says I hope that for you and Claus as well, Marie. You are wonderful parents. Marie says thank you, Andreas. You're a good man and a good friend to my husband. We shouldn't keep you any longer. I hope you found peace here with us, and with Saint Seisha. Player says until later, Marie. Until later, Bert. Berthold says until later. Journal. Forest. Shrine of Saint Seisha, waterfall. Old Otto. Old salt mine. Player says Tassing's old salt mine, how the town made money before the Imperial Road opened up. Waterfall. Old salt mine. Old Otto. Old Otto says good to see you, Andreas. Forest. Player says rotten and full of bugs. No wonder Otto hasn't split it up. Forest. Shrine of Saints, waterfall. Shrine of Saint Seisha, meadow. Smokey's home, church and druggers. Meadow. Thomas, mill. Church and druggers. Else. Headstone. At church and outer farms. Church and druggers. Thomas. Thomas mill. Franz Bauer and Widow Kemperin, Claus, Drugger House. Claus. Franz Bauer and Widow Kemperin. Church and druggers. Cat, Franz Bauer House. Cat. Cat says hello, Master Mailer. I'm sorry to cause you trouble, but... Have you seen Martin recently? He wasn't feeling well, so I let him sleep until prime. But when I came to check on him, he was gone. Option 1 of 2, I saw him. Select thought bubble to think before responding. Option 2 of 2, lie, I'm sorry, Cat, I haven't seen him. Option 1 of 2, I saw him Thursday morning. Player says he ran through the meadow while I was on my way to the Abbey at prime. Cat says but, he said he was sick. And what was he doing in the meadow? He hardly ever goes out there. It always makes him sneeze. Option 1 of 2, he seemed to be running from the Abbey. Option 2 of 2, lie, I don't know, I'm sorry. Option 1 of 2, player says why do you ask? Cat says he has a history of making poor decisions. Player says like stealing? Baron Rothvogel's manservant believes Martin may have stolen some of the Lord's rings. Cat says Lord have mercy. That must be where he's gone, to sell them. Oh, Martin, how could you? Option 1 of 2, do you know where he's likely to have gone? Option 2 of 2, is it possible he could have killed the Baron? Option 1 of 2, do you know where he's likely to have gone? Cat says the last time he ran off, it was to Innsbruck. But I don't know. I don't know. He could be anywhere. What if he is attacked on the road? Option 1 of 2 I am sure he'll be alright, cat. Option 2 of 2 say nothing. Option 1 of 2 cat says I pray to God that you are right. I'm sorry. This is not your trouble. Thank you for speaking to me. Option 1 of 3 was there something else? Option 2 of 3 anytime, cat. Option 1 of 3 option 3 of 3 nod regretfully. Option 1 of 3 was there some cat says I don't want to impose. But if it wouldn't be too much trouble, please let me know if you see Martin. I'm so worried for him. Option 1 of 2 of course, cat. Cat says thank you, Master Mailer. Be well. Cat. France Bauer House, Brigitta, France. France. France said Andreas. Brigitta. Brigitta says I would wish you a good day, Andreas, but I fear that would be a lie. Option 1 of 2 the Baron Rothvogel was murdered at the Abbey, have you heard? Option 2 of 2 has something happened? Option 1 of 2 Brigitta says heaven above. By who? Surely not one of the brothers. Option 1 of 2 an elder brother was found with a knife, but I don't believe it was him. Option 2 of 2 I am not sure yet, but I intend to find out. Brigitta says, oh, Lord. Martin, you couldn't have. Option 1 of 2 I saw him fleeing the Abbey Thursday morning, right after Baron Rothvogel was murdered. Option 2 of 2 do you think Martin could have killed the Baron? Option 1 of 2 Brigitta says no. Don't say such a thing. He would never hurt someone. I can't imagine it. Option 1 of 2 but he has stolen from people. Option 2 of 2 you must admit, it looks suspicious. Option 1 of 2 but he has stolen from people. Option 1 of 2 2 rings and some golden, for example. Take it. Option 2 of 2 the townspeople believe he is a thief. Option 1 of 2 2 rings and some golden, for example. Taken from the Baron's room before his murder. Brigitta says my God. He couldn't possibly have been so stupid. Did you see him take the rings? How do you know this? Option 1 of 2 the Baron's manservant told me. Option 2 of 2 does that matter? Option 1 of 2 the Baron Brigitta says and he saw Martin take the rings. The golden? Would he swear before the Lord he saw him? Option 1 of 3 he saw Martin lurking around the Abbey guest house the day before. It's a reasonable conclusion to draw. Option 2 of 3 I also saw Martin near the guest house the day before. He was acting weird. Option 3 of 3 I shouldn't tell you anything more, I'm sorry. Option 1 of 3 Brigitta says then he doesn't know for certain, and neither do you. I'm beginning to wonder if you are determined to think badly of Martin. You want him to believe what you will. I see that I can't change your mind. I can do nothing but trust in God, and my husband. Good day to you, Andreas. Option 1 of 2 very well. Until later, Brigitta. Option 2 of 2 say nothing. Option 1 of 2 Brigitta. Frank Cat, Church and Drucker Town Commons. Church and Druckers. Franz Bauer and Widow Kemperin. Klaus, Drucker House. Drucker House. Church and Druckers, Marie. Berthold. Berthold says hi Andreas. Marie. Marie says Andreas. What brings you to the shop? Can I fix you something? Player says you know I love your cooking, Marie, but perhaps another time. Marie says don't keep me waiting, Andreas. Until later. Player says until then. Marie. Church and Druckers. Drucker House, Klaus. Klaus says morning, Andreas. Drucker House. Central Town, Town Commons. Central Town. Central Town. Church and Druckers. Petschlock Lucky. Steinauer House. Northtown, Alban Bakery. Town Commons. Alban Bakery. Central Town. Ulrich. Anna. Grit. Anna. Anna says hot. Grit. Grit says hello, Andreas. Anna. Ulrich. Ulrich says God bless you, Andreas. Central Town. Alban Bakery. Town Commons. Alban Bakery, Northtown. Steinauer House. Central Town. Central Town. Agnes. Agnes. Agnes says Andreas. Central Town. Steinauer house. Lucky. Lucky says what do you want? Option 1 of 2 good day, Lucky. Option 2 of 2 you don't need to be like that. Option 1 of 2 good day, Lucky. Do you have a moment to talk? Lucky says make it quick. Option 1 of 3 I wanted to ask you about the grave of 2 innocents. In the forest. Option 2 of 3 I found a note you left in the forest. Option 3 of 3 perhaps another time. Option 1 of 3 I wanted to ask you about the grave of 2 innocents. In the forest. Player says I saw you leave flowers there. Who were they for? Lucky says that's not your business. I won't talk to you about this, Andreas. Don't ask me again. Option 1 of 2 I found a note you left in the forest. Player says remember the girl. 1 grave for 2 innocents. The red bird flies. Matins. Chapter. Do you know where it came from? Lucky says no. Option 1 of 2 no, and Option 2 of 2 glares stoically. Option 1 of 2 no, Lucky says that's all you're getting from me, Andreas. Are you done? Option 1 of 2 1 grave for 2 innocents. Isn't that the grave in the forest? Option 2 of 2 perhaps another time. Option 1 of 2, player says I saw you leave flowers there. Who were they for? Lucky says that's not your business. I won't talk to you about this, Andreas. Don't ask, player says perhaps another time. Perhaps another time. I'm not getting anywhere with him. Perhaps his wife, Agnes, can tell me more. Lucky says. Lucky. Hello, Andreas. Steinauer house. Steinauer house. Central town. Agnes. Agnes says good day, Andreas. Player says good day, Agnes. Agnes says was there something you needed? Your link option 1 of 2 I was hoping to talk to you about the grave in the forest. Player says I tried to speak with Lucky about it, but he refused. Agnes says yes, that does sound like my husband. Option 1 of 2 I was surprised. I thought he would be more forthright with me. Option 2 of 2 I know it's not my business, but visiting a secret grave in the woods is unusual. Option 1 of 2 I was surprised. Agnes says this is a matter close to our hearts, his and mine both. It's not a matter for gossip. Player says is he hiding something? Agnes says we all have our sorrows, Andreas. Let my husband and I mourn ours in peace. Option 1 of 2 I understand. Option 2 of 2 frown I see. Option 1 of 2 I understand. Option 1 of 2 God be with you, Agnes. Option 2 of 2 until later. Option 1 of 2 God be. Agnes says God be with you as well. Agnes. Central town. Steinauer house. Lucky. Lucky says hello, Andreas. Petschlaw, Church and Druckers. Petschlaw, hello, Andreas. Petschlaw, Church and Druckers. Petschlaw, Lucky. Steinauer house. Northtown, Alban Bakery. Town Commons. Alban Bakery, Northtown. Northtown. Central town. Central town. Werner, Stahl's house. Player says Tassing is lucky to have so much woundwort naturally growing. I had to buy it back in Nuremberg. Stahl's Werner. More ruins. I wonder if they're from the old Roman colony. Werner. Stahl's house. Stahl's house. Werner. Werner says hello, mailer. Stahl's house. Stahl's house. Stahl's house. Hello, mailer. Player says more ruin. Central town. Northtown. Alban Bakery. Town Commons. Central town. Entry. Gerdner Farm. Gerdner Farm. Town Commons. Big Gerd. Gerdner Peter. Peter says Andreas. Il Peter. Yuan Bauer Farm. Gerdner Farm. Town Commons. On, Yuan Hetty, Veronica, Franz Bauer and Widow Kemperin. Veronica. Veronica says I'll see you at the spinning bee, Andreas. Hetty, Yuan Bauer house. Hetty. Hetty says I better see that skinny bottom of yours at the bee, Andreas. Yuan Bauer house. Yuan. Yuan says Andreas. Was just wondering when you'd turn up. The gaggle said you'd come to watch them spin. Between you and me, Hetty's not about to let you go once she's got you in her claws. So I hope you've got a few hours to hunker down and get comfortable. Option 1 of 2. I am happy to spare a few hours. Yuan says Hetty'll be glad to hear it. She's got a fondness for you, heaven knows what. Now, I can't let you inside among the unmarried girls, being unmarried yourself. But you're welcome to watch through one of the windows. Option 1 of 2. You don't need to worry about me. Option 2 of 2. I understand. Option 1 of 2. You don't. Yuan says good. Nothing matters more for a young woman than her reputation, and Eva and Veronica won't be getting a poor one on my watch. Hetty says, that idiot never did see trouble, he didn't want to jump in feet first. Veronica says you don't think he's gone to Innsbruck. Option 1 of 2. Who are we talking about? Option 2 of 2. Keep listening. Hetty says Lord no, Innsbruck's got to be small time to the little shit now. Clara says you think he has something more exciting in mind. Kat says it's a big world. Perhaps he intends to explore it? Or escape? Clara says that nobleman was just murdered up at the Abbey. Eva says Martin picked an awfully convenient time to run off. Kat says oh, Lord. Clara says Andreas was friends with the nobleman. Do you think Martin could have, you know? Option 1 of 3. What motivation could Martin have possibly had? Option 2 of 3. I am not ruling anyone out just yet. Option 3 of 3. I don't think this is appropriate for me to discuss. Option 2 of 3. I am not ruling anyone out just yet. Veronica says it just doesn't seem like Martin. Eva says Martin might be a thief, but I don't think he's a murderer. He's a coward at heart. Clara says you think it takes a brave man to commit a murder? Yuan says not a brave man, but a bold one. And Martin is not that. Hetty says he's your problem, Kat. What do you think? Could he have killed that man? Kat says. Veronica says Mom. Yuan says this is a matter best left to the proper authorities, not a spinning bee. Imagine being tried by a gaggle of peasant women. Eva says that's unkind, Yuan. Yuan says it's the truth, isn't it? Doesn't matter if it hurts your feelings. Option 1 of 2. She's right, Yuan. You're being. Option 2 of 2. Say nothing. Option 1 of 2. She's right, Yuan. You're being unfair. Option 2 of 2. Say nothing. Hetty says Andreas, if you're just going to stand around, how about I put you to work? Yuan says if you're going to gossip with the girls, you might as well spin with them, too. Player says how does this work? Hetty says draft wool from the distaff and twist it tight, then spin the tight yarn onto the spindle. Once there's enough yarn on the spindle, collect it at the bottom and begin again. Draft, twist, spin, collect, repeat. You'll figure it out. Options. Player says oh, hell. Shit. Damn thing. Oh, hell. Shit. I've got it. Clara says do you know, I took Ursula to play with Bert's daughter the other day. And there was a strange man in the bakery. Yuan says was he polite to you? I can't believe Ulrich would stand for anything less. Eva says he was very reserved. Dark skin, quite tall, and wearing a tunic. Clara says he liked the rye bread, I remember. Hetty says, who is this man? Why am I just now hearing about this? Het says, I believe he is staying at the Abbey. Veronica says that must be Brother Sevat. Brigida and I saw him walking up there after visiting the shops. He seemed lost. Hetty says, where is he from? Does he speak German? Christ, I hate being the last to know. Player says, damn thing. Shit. Damn thing. Oh, hell. Shit. Oh, hell. Damn thing. Shit. Hetty says, you know, I saw Big Yurg talking to that nun again. The young one. Yuan says, heh. Who can blame him? Hetty says, God damn it, Yuan. Yuan says, heh heh heh. Clara says he knows she's trouble. I told him to stay away. Veronica says she's very pretty, isn't she? In a mean way. Clara says pretty, perhaps, but a nun all the same. He knows better. Eva says, when has that ever stopped Big Yurg from doing anything? Hetty says, we have plenty of pretty girls here in town. My Veronica's not half bad. Veronica says, Mom. Yuan says, let's not give Andreas any ideas, eh. Player says, oh, hell. Damn thing. Shit. Oh, hell. Damn thing. Oh, hell. Shit. Clara says Brigida has been spending a lot of time at her mother's house lately. Agnes is glad to have her home, and Lucky's always treated her like a daughter, but I can tell they're concerned. Are Brigida and Martin having trouble, Veronica? Veronica says that's one word for it. Brigida does what she can, but nothing pleases Martin. He won't lift a finger for her or rule. He's such an asshole. Yuan says, well, that's not his business, is it? Women's work, and all that. Veronica says, you ever seen him doing much men's work, Dad? Yuan says, can't say I've ever seen him do much work at all. Clara says perhaps Lucky can talk some sense into Martin. He's always, Het says Lucky Steinauer is the model of what a man should be. Player says, damn thing. Oh, hell. Damn thing. Shit. Otto says, is everyone behaving themselves in here? Veronica says, oh, it's you. Eddie says, afternoon, Otto. Come to see anyone special? Eva says, hello, Otto. It's good to see you. Otto says, I heard laughing from the road and knew you all had to be up to no good in here. And look, there's Andreas. Have you been minding your manners? Old Yuang here's a real stickler for propriety. Option 1 of 2, I fear I've been yoked to the will of propriety my entire life. Option 2 of 2, I've mostly been listening, actually. Player says, I think these women know just about everything that happens in passing. Yuan says, my Hetty's got little birdies up in every eve. Hetty says, are you calling me a gossip? Yuan says, are you pretending not to be one? Veronica says, ugh. Option 1 of 3, family life. Option 2 of 3, laugh along. Option 3 of 3, say nothing. Option 2 of 3, laugh along. Option 1 of 3, Yuan says, maybe you learn a little bit about honest work, and you could get one for yourself. Otto says, we all know you work hard in the fields, Yuan, no need to boast. Hetty says he works hard in other places, too. Veronica says, Mom. Hetty says, you've been in town a few months, Andreas. Got any burning questions you've been needing to ask? Option 1 of 2 about Kearsarge Abbey. Option 2 of 2 about Tassing. Option 1 of 2 about Kearsarge Abbey. Claire says, Clara mentioned the abbot has suddenly started raising taxes. Clara says, raising them and changing their terms, yes. When Father Matthias was the abbot, he would let us pay a portion of our taxes in crops. Otto says, naturally, the shit-for-brains abbot put an end to that this year. Eva says, even if our crops fail or produce less than we'd like, we still owe the abbey for the use of the land. It doesn't make any sense. How can he raise our taxes when the price for our grain does not rise, too? Where does he think the money comes from? Otto says he doesn't think about the common folk at all. If it's not his abbey, it's not his problem. Option 1 of 3, you could renegotiate a better price on your grain with the miller. Option 2 of 3, what about the miller? Doesn't he have some part to play in that? Option 3 of 3, but it isn't his problem. He's the abbot, not the mayor. Option 2 of 3, what about the miller? Doesn't he have some part to play in that? Yuan says Lenhart drives a hard bargain. He won't give us a better deal just because the abbot raises our taxes. What we need is access to more land. Trying to bargain with Lenhart won't get us that. Kat says Lenhart is not a kind man. And he does not negotiate. Clara says he might if you carry a lot of debt. But his bargains are cruel. Eva says we pay him even before the abbot, though I'm not sure why. Kat says good. Eddie says I have nothing Christian to say about Lenhart Muller, so I will say nothing at all. Except that I hope he falls into a fast-moving river during a flood and dashes his brains on the rocks. Yuan says Jesus Christ, Eddie. Veronica says can we talk about something else? Eddie says come on, Andreas, surely you've got better questions than that. Claire says about Tassing. Option 1 of 4, I found a grave in the forest that read 2 innocents. Who's buried there? Option 2 of 4, do you see much of the monks and nuns in town? Option 3 of 4, the Anjores in the church. Do you know much about her? Option 4 of 4, how have you been weathering the storm? Option 1 of 4, I found a grave in the forest that read 2 innocents. Who's buried there? Kat says it's a very sad story. Clara says one that's not entirely appropriate to discuss, even here. Eva says oh, just tell him. He knows enough. Otto says he should know the truth about his friend the Baron, anyway. Option 1 of 3, yes, I'd like to know. Option 2 of 3, we weren't really friends. Option 3 of 3, say nothing. Option 1 of 3, yes, Clara says the grave belongs to Lucky and Agnes' first daughter, Beat, and her unborn child. Claire says why are they buried out in the middle of the forest? Kat says. Clara says. Eddie says she killed herself. Kat says it's not quite that simple. Clara says she had an affair with the Baron and fell pregnant. Kat says that man promised her the moon and the stars. Clara says when her pregnancy was discovered, the Baron abandoned her. Otto says the heartless bastard. Eddie says it's her fault, isn't it? She should have known better. Veronica says what is wrong with you? Eddie says Veronica bought her in. Yuan says girls, you're causing a scene. Clara says. Beat asked her mother for help with restoring her cycle. She refused. Agnes and Lucky told her that they would find someone for her to marry, that everything would be alright. We don't know if Beat was scared or, well, she took matters into her own hands. It ended with her death. Option 1 of 2, it's quite easy to miscalculate the dose of an abortifacient. An error. Option 2 of 2, I saw Lucky praying beside her grave. Option 1 of 2, it's quite easy to miscalculate the dose of an abortifacient. An error can be fatal. Yuan says an A for what? Veronica says medicine, Dad. Agnes medicine. Yuan says if you say so. Claire says I saw Lucky praying beside her grave. Clara says Lucky and Agnes both took it badly. Agnes blamed herself. Kat says Lucky blamed the Baron. Eva says it's not hard to understand why. Beat was just a girl. The Baron took advantage of her. Claire says that would explain why Lucky and Lawrence argued when Lawrence returned to Tassing. Otto says sure. I can see the wheels turning in your head, Andreas. You should leave well enough alone. Yuan says agreed. I don't like where this conversation is going. Eddie says I don't know about you girls, but I'm sick of this wool. I'm sure we've all got other chores to get to. Clara says I'm glad to have that over with. Now I don't have to think about wool for a whole year. Kat says oh. I was having such a nice time. Eva says I certainly learned a lot. Otto says care for an escort home, Eva. Eva says I'd like that, yes. Eddie says ha ha ha. Yuan says I expect everyone will be on their best behavior going home. Clara says they always are. Eva says Yuan, please. Clara says Andreas, will I see you home for supper? Option 1 of 3 yes, I'll be there. Option 2 of 3 I have something to take care of before, but I'll try to make it. Option 3 of 3 perhaps, I'm not sure what my plans are this evening. Option 1 of 3 yes, I'll be there. Option 1 of 3 this was very illuminating. Thank you all for letting me join you. Option 2 of 3 thank you for the invitation, everyone. Option 3 of 3 Christ, what a chore this was. Option 2 of 3 thank you for the invitation. Eddie says thanks for coming by, Andreas. Come back anytime. Yuan says unless you come on Abby business. Otto says don't threaten him with a good time, Yuan. Player says I should find someone to eat with. Yuan Bauer, Eddie. Eddie. Yuan Bauer house. Yuan Bauer house, Eddie. Eddie says hey, Andreas. Do you have dinner plans? You should join us for a meal. Option 1 of 2 ID like that. Lead the way, Eddie. Option 2 of 2 maybe another time. Option 1 of 2 ID like that. Lead the way, Eddie. Eddie says that's what I like to hear. I'm starving. Yuan says bless us, O Lord, and these, your gifts, which we are about to receive from your bounty. Through Christ, our Lord, Amen. Eddie says, Veronica says, Han says Amen. Player says Amen. Yuan says there's been some chaos up at the Abbey, hasn't there, Andreas? What with the death of that nobleman, what was his name? Option 1 of 2 Baron Rothvogel. Option 2 of 2 Lorenz Rothvogel, a baron from Worms. Option 1 of 2 Baron Rothvogel. His death was a tragedy. Hetty says good riddance. You won't find many in Tassing crying over one dead nobleman. Yuan says I'll admit this has me interested. A murder at an abbey. How did it come to pass? Player says I'm still trying to figure that out. My mentor, Brother Piero, was found with the body, but he's too frail to have done the deed. Select food item to eat. Poached egg. Poached egg. Poached egg. Poached egg. Poached egg. Poached egg. Hetty says grizzly. What about the blood? Was it everywhere? Option 1 of 3 oh, buckets of it. Option 2 of 3. Some. Option 3 of 3 say nothing. Option 1 of 3. Hetty says absolutely ghastly. Tell me about the wound. Could you see it? Veronica says Jesus, Mom. Hetty says I'm only curious. It's not every day a man's murdered in broad daylight. What if I need to protect myself? Han says you're being weird, Mom. Weird and drunk. Veronica says uh-huh. Yuan says do you have any idea who might have done the deed, if not this Brother Piero? Option 1 of 3 the Baron had many enemies in town and at the Abbey. Option 2 of 3 I am pursuing that question at this very moment. Option 3 of 3 it's not my place to say. Option 2 of 3 I am pursuing that. Player says well, not exactly at this moment, but once we're through here. Yuan says you want to inspect our kitchen for clues, you feel free. Maybe wash the dishes while you're at it? Hetty says I got a bit of laundry you can do, too. Han says what? Andreas is gonna do our chores? Veronica says don't be stupid, Hans. Mom and Dad are just being annoying. Anyway, whoever killed the Baron has to be dumb as a sack of bricks. Yuan says or very angry. Option 1 of 2 does anyone come to mind, Yuan? Option 2 of 2 I can think of a few townspeople who fit that description. Option 1 of 2 does anyone come to mind? Yuan says no, and I wouldn't tell you if they did. No good can come of whatever it is you're up to, Andreas. Once the church and the nobility get involved, all the peasants are going to get his shit. From one end or the other, it doesn't matter which. Veronica says gross, Dad. Hans says heh heh. Select food item to eat. Fresh pottage. Fresh pottage. Yuan says what? I'm right. Hans thinks I'm right, don't you, son? Hans says always, Dad. Yuan says at least God granted me one respectful child. Veronica says ugh. What a suck-up. Hetty says speaking of the church, has Yuan told you about how the abbot's out to ruin our lives? Player says no. Yuan says we were supposed to expand our farm, but the abbot's taxes make it impossible. We can't grow enough barley to feed ourselves, pay the miller's toll, and give the abbey its due. Hetty says it's not Christian. Option 1 of 3 the abbey has its own expenses to consider. Option 2 of 3 it's not right, the way you and the rest of the farmers are treated. Option 1 of 3 the abbey has its own expenses to consider. Their mission isn't one of charity. Option 3 of 3 nod regretfully. Option 2 of 3 it's not right, the way you and the rest of the farmers are treated. Hetty says that's right. Yuan says now that Randig Kempers kicked the bucket, the old witch's land will be forfeit soon. Once Adelia's gone, her land will be available for us to purchase, God willing. Hans says not if Uncle Franz gets to it first. Veronica says I can't believe you. She's an old lady living all alone. We should be looking after her, not picking scraps from her corpse. Hans says shut up. Jesus. Hetty says how dare you speak to your father that way. Option 1 of 2 should I? Option 2 of 2 say nothing. Option 1 of 2 should I? Yuan says you want my advice? Stay out of it. They always get like this after more than an hour in the same room. Select food item to eat. Chicken. 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 Veronica says I feel sorry for Adelia. Hetty says Lord help me, we're going to have a very serious conversation about your attitude, Veronica. Hans says haha, you're in for it now. Veronica says eat shit, Hans. Hetty says alright, that's it. Andreas, it's been great, but I need to have a talk with my ungrateful children. See yourself out. Option 1 of 3 goodbye. Option 2 of 3 your heart's in the right place, Veronica. Option 3 of 3 be nice to your sister, Hans. Option 1 of 3 goodbye. Yuan says mind your safety on the walk back. That charcoal man and his suspicious friend are about. Heading. Player says time to get back to work. Hetty says hey, Andreas. Yuan, Hans. Hans says hey, Andreas. Player says how's it going, Hans? Hans says I guess. Player says. Do you like it? Hans says what? Player says farming. Hans says I never really thought about it. Dad says it has to get done whether I like it or not. Player says what do you think about, then? Hans says. Uncle Franz said Brigitte might come help with the laundry today. Player says she's Martin's wife, right? She seems nice. Hans says she is. Nicer than Veronica, anyway. I wish Brigitte lived here instead of her. Option 1 of 2 well, you have a good time thinking about your cousin's wife. Option 2 of 2 say nothing. Option 1 of 2 well, option 2 of 2 say nothing. Player says until later, Hans. Hans says but. Hans. Yuan Bauerhaus. Yuan says hey there, Andreas. Hans. Town Commons, Gertner Farm. Town Commons, Gertner Farm. Yuan Bauer Farm. Il Peter. Gertner House. Figure, Peter, Town Commons. Gertner Farm. Entries. Players entries. Entry says hello, Andreas. Central Town. Entry, Gertner Farm. Yuan Bauer Farm. Zimmerman House. Zimmerman House. Town Commons. Town Commons. Zimmerman House. Otto. Church and Druckers. Otto. Otto says hey, Andreas. Church and Druckers. Town Commons. Central Town. Drucker Klaus. Klaus says hello, Andreas. Drucker House. Church and Druckers. Marie. Berthold. Berthold says hi. Marie says Andreas. Church and Druckers. Drucker House. Klaus. Klaus at Drucker House. Klaus. Drucker House. Klaus. Franz Bauer. Mill. Thomas. Thomas. Thomas says God be with you, Andreas. Meadow. Forest. Church and Druckers. Smokey's home. Meadow. Shrine of Waterfall. Shrine of Saint Sasha. Meadow. Smokey's home. Church and Druckers. Meadow. Meadow. Mill. Mill. Player says a shrine to Saint Moritz. This Mill. Meadow. Roman Ruth Lenhart. Paul. Headstog. Church at Outer Farms. Church at Else. Headstog. Paul. Lenhart. Roman Ruins. Meadow. Mill. Forest. Lower Abbey. Meadow. Upper Abbey. Meadow. Guest House. Abbott House. Guest House. Upper Abbey. Lower Abbey. Church. Cloister. Church. Lower Abbey. Shrine. Convent Garden. Shrine. Upper Abbey. Brother Matthew maintains the shrine along with Upper Abbey. A reliquary containing the hand. Upper Abbey. Shrine. Lower Abbey. Church. Church. Upper Abbey. Monastery Loquarium. Ruger. Cloister. Crypt. Tower. Tower. Crypt. Church. Library. Library. The sisters may be in the library right now. I need to wait until Compline. Journal.
Recognizing precise libris. The was not. The Baron and the spinning create. Some of the peasant women have invited me. To spin wool with them and share in a little. Gossip about the town I could learn. Something about who would have wanted to. Kill Lawrence the women meet at Rowan Boggs. House just off the commons I Gullet. Johan though I wanted to attend. The women revealed that Lawrence had an affair. With Lucky Steinhauer's first daughter Pete. And she fell pregnant. She later died from complications while trying to end her pregnancy. Group. LP. Not T. People I invest to tie. I attended the spinning bee of Johan Bowers. House one gained some clarity on the various tensions in town, including at Martin. Bowers is a known thief, though with women, but really likely doesn't have a temperament for murder. R zoom. Pentiment.
Library. Church. Church. Crypt. Tower. Dormitory. Old Matthew. Sacristy. Matthew. Old Dormitory. Church. Old Bailey. Dormitory. Church. Script guy. Scriptorium. Guy. Guy says good day, Andreas. Scriptor. Church. Old Bailey. Matthew, sacristy. Matthew, old dormitory. Church. Old Bailey. Dormitory. Church. Script. Got. Got. Scriptorium. Old Bailey. Eat Parang. Old Bailey. Old Bailey. Parang. Edok. Edok says God bless you, Andreas. Parang. Parang says Andreas. What an awful time. Awful time. A baron, murdered at Gearsaw. These are dark days indeed. Brother Piero. I admit, I would have never thought him the type. What could have possessed him? Option 1 of 2 You can't believe Brother Piero would kill the baron. It's not in his nature. Option 2 of 2 Piero is a half step from the grave. You really think he could have killed a man in his prime? Ferenc says school your tongue, Andreas. A murderer he may be, but the man is still your brother in Christ. Envy and pride inspire men to madness, Andreas. Even old men. But you have come to me for a reason. Do you need something? Option 1 of 5 I found a strange note in your fireplace. It was written in an unusually fine hand. Option 2 of 5 I came across an interesting letter from you addressed to the late Baron Rothvogel. Option 3 of 5 you rushed into the scriptorium and hid something strange at your desk. Option 4 of 5 I've heard it said you perform blood rituals in the woods. Option 5 of 5 not now, thank you. Option 4 of 5 I've heard it said you perform blood rituals in the woods. Ferenc says who would slander me with such a claim? Option 1 of 2 I heard it from the tinker, Vaxlav, and that charcoal burner, Smokey. Option 2 of 2 what does it matter? Option 1 of 2 I heard it from the Ferenc says I knew it. I knew they were spying. Option 1 of 2 how could you be so careless after what happened in Innsbruck? Option 2 of 2 do you wish to bring church inquisitors down on the abbey? Ferenc says they were merely angelic invocations, entirely Christian and benign. Option 1 of 2 shout. Then why are you whispering? Option 2 of 2 whisper. Then why are you whispering? Ferenc says I remember too well what transpired in Innsbruck. And because I know the minds of men, even godly men, are now and again poisoned by fear and small thinking. There, are you satisfied? Option 1 of 2 no, you still haven't explained the point of your angelic invocations. Option 2 of 2 yes, I've heard enough. Option 1 of 2 no, you still haven't. Player says that is, unless you really were doing witchcraft. Of which I approve, to be clear. Ferenc says I was merely attempting to invoke the angel's aid to help with the abbey's financial troubles. Option 1 of 4 I've read about court magicians in Hungary who do the same for their rulers. Option 2 of 4 it would have been safer to begin with a thorough review of the ledger. Option 3 of 4 did it help? Option 4 of 4 I hope you have a better answer than that when church inquisitors come knocking. Option 3 of 4 did it help? Ferenc says the Lord and his angels do not work on a mortal time scale. Now please, Andreas, you've drawn the truth from me. Leave me in peace. Option 1 of 2 I had a few more questions, if you don't mind. Ferenc says. Option 1 of 4 I found a strange note in your fireplace. It was written in an unusually fine hand. Player says I found others around tassing with the same hand that seemed to have appeared out of nowhere. Ferenc says what were you doing in my home? Option 1 of 2 I called out your name and thought I heard a scream inside. Option 2 of 2 just having a look around. Option 1 of 2 I called out your name and thought I heard a scream inside. Player says I feared you were being gruesomely murdered, so I let myself in. Ferenc says well next time don't. Option 1 of 2 You'd rather I let you be killed in cold blood, Prior Ferenc? Option 2 of 2 Let Prior Ferenc be killed. Alright, I'll try to remember that. Option 1 of 2 Ferenc says you impossible, Ack. Any person of manners knows better than to go snooping through others' things. I have nothing to hide. Player says then why burn the note? What was left was difficult to read, but I could make out, the red bird. Matins. Ferenc says it was a strange little thing I found on my desk after waking up for Matins. It meant nothing to me, so I put it in the fire. Player says it wasn't there when you went to sleep. Ferenc says not that I noticed. But again, Andreas, it was small, I could have easily overlooked it. Surely it's just a loose scrap. But the hand was handsome, you're correct. Unlike anything penned by the brothers in the scriptorium, to be certain. How unsettling. Option 1 of 2 Do you remember what the note said? Option 2 of 2 Who has access to your home? Option 1 of 2 Do you remember what the note said? Ferenc says no, only that I found the contents nonsensical and disturbing. Player says the remaining legible part read, the red bird. You don't know what that could be? Ferenc says a scrap from some bestiary. I couldn't say. My eyes watch the heavens, not the trees. Although, we do not see many red birds at this altitude. The common robin, perhaps. Or a swallow. But that doesn't matter. I'm telling you, it was nonsense. Player says one more thing. Who has access to your home? Ferenc says everyone at this abbey. But what does it matter to you? It was just a scrap of paper. Option 1 of 2 I am not sure yet, I just have a strange feeling about it. Option 2 of 2 I found a similar note in the Baron's effects while Brother Florian was performing his initial examination. Ferenc says but the abbot ordered you away from abbey. Andreas, your cavalier attitude toward Father Gernot's commands. Player says but don't you find the coincidence strange? Ferenc says no. We operate a scriptorium, master mailer, and house perhaps the largest library in Bavaria. We are awash in parchment scraps. They multiply like silverfish between the pages of our books. Are you satisfied now? Player says I suppose that will have to do. Thank you. Ferenc says excellent. Are we done here? Option 1 of 2 I had a few more questions, if you don't mind. Ferenc says. Option 1 of 3 I came across an interesting letter from you addressed to the late Baron Rothvogel. Option 3 of 3 not now, thank you. Option 2 of 3 you rushed into the scriptorium and hid something strange at your desk. Option 1 of 3 I came across an interesting letter from you addressed to the late Baron Rothvogel. Ferenc says what? Where did you get that? Option 1 of 3 you shouldn't leave this type of thing lying around. An unscrupulous person might use it for devious ends. Option 2 of 3 from an impression I made of your writing pad. Option 3 of 3 were you performing occult rituals with the Baron? Ferenc says SHH. He meant to coerce me into performing a ritual to help him with a condition. But I refused, as the letter makes abundantly clear. Option 1 of 3 the Baron's threat remained, and you know how fickle inquisitors can be about what books people choose to read. Option 2 of 3 the line between one who knows such rituals and one who practices them is thin as a spider's thread, prior. Option 3 of 3 had you performed rituals with him. I'm given to understand you shared a love of occult books. Ferenc says it is only a scholarly interest. Option 1 of 2 that's what we all say, brother. Not all of us are telling the truth. Option 2 of 2 completely unrelated to the blood rituals in the forest, then. Option 1 of 2 that's what we all say, brother. Option 2 of 2 completely Ferenc says that was wholly benign. We've discussed this. I am the prior of the Kiersau Scriptorium, one of the few of its kind left in Christendom. Modest though the abbey may be, our library contains works on subjects rarely found beyond its walls, certainly not all in the same place. For men of certain academic interests, it is perhaps the only place we may meet and discuss them. Option 1 of 2 I've always thought it's a perfectly reasonable area of study, so long as you avoid certain subjects. Option 2 of 2 yet he threatened to expose you to church inquisitors. Ferenc says the Baron's interest was more than academic. When he wished to make it practical, I refused. There is nothing more to it. Player says I see. Ferenc says now, is that all? I have viewed option 1 of 2 I had a few more questions, if you don't mind. Ferenc says. Option 1 of 2 you rushed into the scriptorium and hid something strange at your desk. Ferenc says pardon? And why were you sneaking about the scriptorium? Option 1 of 3 what was it, some kind of disc? Option 2 of 3 I can ask questions, too. What? Option 3 of 3 I wasn't sneaking. I dropped a bottle of paint on the floor and was cleaning it up. Option 2 of 3 I can ask questions, too. What was so important you had to be late for terse? Option 3 of 3 I wasn't. Option 1 of 2 I could have left it there if you'd preferred. The floor is rather drab in the scriptorium. Option 2 of 2 I get more work done while you and the rest of the brothers are at church. Option 1 of 2 I could. Ferenc says this ungrateful wretch. Let us seek a common understanding, Master Mailer, as two brothers in Christ. Option 1 of 2 please, let's. I love to understand things. Option 2 of 2 say nothing. Option 1 of 2 Ferenc says growling. The scriptorium is my domain, and you are a guest here. And so long as that is true, I do not answer to you, but the abbot only. Is that clear? Option 1 of 2 I suppose. Option 2 of 2 if you don't mind me asking, why aren't you the abbot? Option 1 of 2 I suppose. Ferenc says praise be. Will that be all from you, then? Player says for now. Be well, Prior Ferenc. Ferenc says bless you, Master Mailer. Ferenc. Old Bailey. Old Bailey, Ferenc. Edoc says God bless you, Andreas, Ferenc. Ferenc says God bless you, Andreas, Old Bailey. Old Bailey, Ferenc. God bless you, Andreas, Old Bailey. Scriptorium. Prior's house. Old Bailey. Old Bailey. Options. Main quit. Cancel.
Recognizing result dice 4F1 day remains. April 23rd, 1518E. Non-S minus 13B. Kit game. Your game was last saved 16 seconds ago. VT game. Pentiment.
Options.